The moment this isn't fun anymore, I'm done. It's all about that at the end of the day. I can live without the money. I can live knowing that I tried. It was a lot of money and it was a cool opportunity. I thought about the money just a little bit. But you'll also see a lot of things like what I'm about to do. And I actually did calisthenics. It's a little different. We're kind of just throwing ourselves out there. I could have broke my shoulder. If it goes into the Olympics, sign me up. That's my dream. I want to continue to share, to inspire women. Even to this day, I'm doing things that I'm like, what?
Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of Behind the Beast, where we get to know the contestants on Beast Games Season 2, Strong vs. Smart.
Hi guys, my name is Aspen Vincent. I am player 135 and I am a professional calisthenics athlete.
So now you've competed at many events for the World Calisthenics Organization. How did you first find your passion for calisthenics in the first place?
My brother started training calisthenics first. Nice. When he was 15, I was maybe 12 at the time. And I always wanted to be a gymnast. That just never ended up happening. And so when I saw him training and doing things that gymnasts were doing, and he was just training himself, I thought that was so cool. And it really just gave me like this empowerment moment. And I messed around with it for a long time, but never took it serious. I was 12. Sure. Yeah. So I wasn't very dedicated. But then when I turned 18, I was kind of thinking about more what I was going to do with life. Yeah. And that was like,
unfortunately, you have to have that conversation with yourself.
Right. Yeah. And going through, being 18 and being an emotional woman, it really was one of those things that helped me get through a lot of emotional times growing up. And so I just kind of dove into it more, but ultimately my brother inspired calisthenics for me. Yeah.
And so what is your ultimate dream whenever you go into calisthenics in the future?
I think that it started out, like I said, like something that was just a crutch, and it really helped me get through a lot of growing up times. But now it's turned into something that I get to see, because when I first started calisthenics, there was not many women doing it. Sure. I have been in a room full of guys so many times I can't tell you. Yeah. And it's been me, the one girl or just a few girls. And there was just a few girls leading it for a long time. And now I get to see so many new girls joining the sport because of the path that other girls paved. And I'm so happy I got to be a part of that. There were girls that paved it for me, and now I get to do the same. So now a huge passion of mine is to get children into it because of how it helped me when I was growing up, and then two, just to inspire other women that we're capable of things that we never thought possible. Even to this day, I'm doing things that I'm like, what? Looking back, I would have never thought possible. So
now whenever you do compete, is it the same standard for guys and girls?
Yes, moves are the same. More guys have more higher moves because it's naturally strength-wise. But nowadays I can say that there are girls, and quite a few girls now, that are surpassing men. So that's crazy to see. One of the moves I'm working on right now is called a front lever. If you've never seen it, look it up. Front lever. And it is insane. There are maybe, I don't want to say, I could be wrong, but there are 10 major girls that can do front levers in the world. There's definitely more, but that are prominent on social media or whatnot. And it's there are guys that can't do this move. And so to see girls do it, it's really cool. So that's awesome. Yeah.
So you've developed a bit of a following on Instagram by showing off your routine and progress in the calisthenics world. What's an earlier on moment that you look back now and kind of laugh at yourself by how embarrassing it was at the very beginning?
I think that for me, I really had to get over one, you're proud of what you do, right? Sure. And sometimes you can post that prematurely. Sure. And I look back at some of the videos I used to post, but it's also cool to look back, as embarrassing as it can be. Or I'm I could have broke my shoulder, sure. Very unsafe things I was doing just because it was cool and you're excited for yourself. Yeah. There was definitely a lot of things I posted that prematurely, maybe I should have worked on, getting better at the movement, dedicating a little more time to that before. But probably, I regret wanting to show off more than taking some time to work on my craft. Sure. But which I've definitely implemented now. So
I think it's also a great way to see again the progress. Yes, you could see oh, this was very shaky, or maybe I couldn't balance myself, and now it's much better. So.
Yeah, for sure.
So now calisthenics is part archery, but it's also some math and calculations of what you're going to be doing next. So how do you actually go about developing your progressions, and what do you do whenever you're stuck on a move?
Yeah, I think that it's definitely hard because especially in calisthenics, in gymnastics, they have their moves and they have a coach that has maybe been coaching or been in the sport for a long time.
Sure.
Calisthenics is a little different. We're kind of just throwing ourselves out there and hoping
Sure.
we, it's as calisthenics grows, there's more of a system, but in my experience through it, we kind of are just like trying.
Sure.
But the systems I've kind of like come up with to this point for myself are a few different ones, but when I'm learning it, it's just about breaking it down, right? So
Sure.
lots of videos to like see the form.
Sure.
I watch other athletes that have done it, and I'll literally screen record the video and I'll break the skill down one by one. Like, okay, I need to first get my body used to flipping this way, and then I think about the second part. So there's
Sure.
that. When I get stuck on a move, which I'm currently, I don't want to say stuck because I'm very close to this, but there is a move called a front flip regrab. It's actually a gymnastics move too. And this is when you are holding onto the bar, swinging, and then you go backwards into a front flip and you regrab the bar.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's intense.
Sure.
This move was like super hard for me because my brain did not understand what to do it all. Like,
Sure.
I don't know, it was just weird. So I have been working on it for a long time. I had to break it down so many times. Like I said, I watched the video, and then I got stuck because I got scared or fell a weird way or whatnot.
Yeah.
And then I have to literally do the same thing. I have to like go back and like, I will be so close to the move. I'll be hitting my hands on the bar so close. And then one little thing turns me like, or makes me scared, and I have to go and start from the very beginning. Obviously it doesn't take as long to get to that point, but it's like breaking those fears. So there's definitely a lot of like going back to the start and being okay with starting over just to like break the fear barriers. But it's essentially just like breaking it down piece by piece to get the whole movement.
So now looking 5 years into the future, do you see yourself continuing to compete, to coach, to build a brand, or something else entirely? And what steps are you taking to get to that point?
Yeah, so in the future, calisthenics will be in my future forever. I think it will look different at different points of my life.
Sure.
I want to have a family. I want to have kids one day. And so definitely want to make space for that. But I definitely think I could be the mom that's still competing.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Like, competing for me is why I really fell even more in love with calisthenics, because I had never competed in anything, and going on stage like was something that I had never experienced, and it just filled something in me. So I always want to compete, be on stage, and however I can at whatever part of life I'm at. But like I said, it will look different based on becoming a mom and all of that. But as far as like sharing on social media and sharing calisthenics, like I want to continue to share to inspire women, to bring children in, and that's one thing that I'm really excited. When I have my own children, I'll get to share teaching my own children.
Yeah.
And so I want to continue to grow my social media platform for that. Maybe it will look like more of an online program one day. I'm not quite sure, but right now I'm focusing on just like pouring into and giving a little bit more knowledge that I've accumulated from the years of training myself, and being able to share it with other people on Instagram.
Whenever you are competing, how is it actually determined who does better than the other person if it's a sport that's still kind of finding its footing?
It's hard sometimes. There is a lot of times a clear difference.
Sure.
Which also sucks because you shouldn't have two athletes that are such a difference competing. But that's just kind of where the sport is. There's not enough yet. But judging systems are coming more in play, and they're getting better. And so when you do have two athletes that are very close in their skill level, it really comes down to how well did they put it together in every little movement. How well did they change this movement into the next movement? Did they hold the static movements for the exact amount of time without breaking form? So it really comes down into like those little moments if they're like really close. But again, it's not like gymnastics. It doesn't have their like exact judging set yet. Different competitions have different judgings. So we're kind of waiting until there's like more of a set judging standard.
So right now it is more subjective, and if it does flow.
Exactly.
Do you think that eventually it will get to even like an Olympic level sport one day? Was that something that you would pursue?
Absolutely. If it goes into the Olympics, sign me up. That's my dream.
Sure.
But yeah, I think it will. I think it has a chance. I think that there is some things in the works for it, so you might see it. Yeah.
Perfect. So get Aspen on there.
USA, Team USA.
So now, who was one coach or critic who gave you some feedback that was very blunt at the time, but actually helped you develop to the person you are today?
Oh, a lot of people, but a lot of people. Like I said, like we all train, we're all
Yeah.
athletes. Like no one's a coach,
Sure.
and so we're kind of learning as we're going, all
Sure.
of us together. But my friend Dougley, who is also an incredible athlete, he has been one of the people that he's just a brutally honest person.
Love that.
Sometimes he puts you in tears, but
You need
it's
those
all
people. So.
exactly.
Yeah.
But it's always what you need to hear.
Yeah.
And even at my competition yesterday.
Mhm.
I had a competition and I was going to do one combo. I had it in my head and I said, this is what I'm doing. And he looked at me and he said, no, you're not. And I was like, yes, I am. And he said, you're going to do. And he told me the
Yeah.
combo. He knows I can do it. I was doubting myself in the moment. And I told him, I said, no, I said, I'm not doing it. And he said, do it. And I was like, and I just literally, in that moment, I was literally about to touch the bar and I jumped on the bar and I did it. It worked out. It was great. And I'm so happy that he was there to just be like, I know what you're capable of. You need to trust yourself.
And one of these trophies is you got from that event, right? I don't know which one it is.
It's this one.
This one, okay, cool.
It's this one, 2025.
So it was very successful. So.
Yes, I won the competition yesterday.
So sometimes, yeah, you do need that like other force of a friend to tell you like, hey, you can do it.
Right.
Whenever you're like sometimes doubting.
Yeah. Yeah, no coach, but definitely some great friends in this sport. So we are at my humble abode, my second home, the beach with bars. This is where I do all my calisthenics training, and honestly, all my progress happened on beaches like this. So one of the moves I really wanted to learn when I first started calisthenics was a muscle up. And then of course the tricks on the bar, but handstands, muscle ups, front lever, planche, all those things were things that I could learn just by using these bars. So I'm going to show you how to do that too. One of my dream moves before I could do any calisthenics was a muscle up. That's where you do a pull up and then you also go on top of the bar. But in order to do a muscle up, you have to learn a pull up and a few progressions in there. One of the best ways to learn that is with this guy. I have every size, thick, thin, ones that make it easier and harder. So this is a medium one. And if you've never done a pull up and you want to start, this is the absolute best way to start. You just put it on like this and you pull up. If you need a little bit of a tighter bar or band, you can get a little tighter, or if you're already really strong, you can use a looser one. Once you master a pull up, then you can move on to working on your muscle up, which will eventually look like that. Another dream skill of mine before I started doing calisthenics was to learn a handstand, which I have now achieved in the one-arm position. But before I got to there, I really had to work on my balance on the ground. And then I moved up to being able to do them on what's called a parallette. It's just a little bit of a lift and then a different grip. And then eventually I was able to learn them on here. For handstand, I would say the wall is your friend. Do not try and go off the wall until you feel more comfortable and you build that strength. But once you do feel comfortable and you've built strength, you can start practicing off the wall on the ground on your parallettes. And then eventually the goal is to be able to do cool handstands on high bars like this. And hold it. Do other shapes. Whatever you want to do. And that was my dream, which I've now achieved. In calisthenics, I think you should pick a few things you want to work on. For me, when I began, I really worked on handstands, and that was something I focused, also increasing my pull-ups so I could get my muscle up one day. So I would suggest picking a couple skills you want to get better at, breaking them down as I explained in my interview, and really looking at how you need to achieve your ultimate goal. So if that's a muscle up, work on your pull-ups. Work on those little muscles that we're not used to moving and get really good at that so that when you do start working on your muscle up, you're actually able to do it with really good quality and you're not going to get injured. If you have a few goals that you're working on, calisthenics is one of those sports that actually works really well for that because these skills complement each other. So if you're working on something that is pull based, pick something push based. And that's like another really good thing to counter the workouts you're doing and ultimately get you to your goal faster and with no injuries. Injury is a thing I mentioned a few times just because a lot of people jump into calisthenics and they want to show off or they really just are excited about it, which then leads to injuries. So that's why I stress warm up, cool down, don't be a show off, enjoy the journey, and you're gonna achieve cool things. The three things I'll leave you guys with today, I think the most helpful going into calisthenics is focus on quality over quantity. Don't be afraid to reach out to people who inspire you. They could have amazing tips for you and you might make a friend along the way. And the last thing I would say is just always be a learner. You're going to achieve more when you just are humble and you're looking to learn.
So now we did see a lot of athletes on these games fold under pressure. What's something that you do yourself to keep yourself in the right headspace when you're competing?
Every time I'm at a competition, and I started this from like the beginning of me competing, is I always remind myself when it gets too serious to have fun. Because I started competing in calisthenics, and I said the moment this isn't fun anymore, I'm done. Yeah. Because it's all about that at the end of the day. Because if you lose a competition and you still had fun doing it, did you really lose? Sure. That's like my like outlook on it, because it's not about the competition necessarily as much as it's about like your experience and your, you know, what you can take away from it. So every competition I go into, I remind myself have fun, because the outcome is not truly what matters. The way you take it and the way you look at the outcome is what really matters. So even going into the first challenge, that's exactly what I told myself. I said, you know what what you're capable of. Have fun with it.
I love it. Yeah. So. And like at the end of the day, I think we talked about the show itself a little bit, and that's kind of the mindset that we came out of it. Is like, hey, we still had a great experience. Yeah. It was still cool to be a part of the process in the first place.
Yeah, just to look at all the wins from it, because there's always a win, even if you don't win the competition. Yeah. There's a win from everything, and your outlook on it is what really matters.
So now going back to the first challenge, going down the rope and climbing back up, you were actually one of the first few people that actually completed it. And later on, you're presented with the opportunity to take a $100,000 bribe and self-eliminate it yourself from the competition. So what was your thought process during that time? Because you were telling me that you knew you're one of the people that would have been up for that money. And why did you make the decision that you did?
Yeah, honestly, I had in my mind that I was going to try my hardest to make it to the end. Like that was my goal. And when they presented that opportunity, I knew, like I said, I knew I could leave without money. I could leave with, you know, something. The rest was unknown. So, but I thought about it and I was like, you know, I can live without the money. I can live knowing that I tried, because at the end of the day, if I know, like, I will always try until the end. And so like, if I left with the money, I would never know if I could make it further. And that's my thing. I couldn't live with not knowing. And so I was like, you know, for me, it was worth it to be able to go home and be like, I know I tried, even though I did go home on the second challenge. And I'm still happy with that decision, because even though it was a lot of money and it was a cool opportunity, I thought about the money just a little bit. But no, I'm still very happy with my decision, because I know that I gave it my all. Yeah.
And you got to experience even more of the competition.
Even more of the competition, and I think life lessons that I'll take on forever. So.
When presented with the 4 different mini games within the second challenge, you chose to go down the balance path. Were you shocked that that balance challenge ended up becoming more of a mental game than originally? And can you walk us through that game in your perspective?
Yeah, I guess I can't say I'm shocked, because like, again, you're on Beast Games. Sure. Like, it's kind of like, you never know. Yeah. Every day is a shock. But for me, I mean, I don't know if I'd say shocked, bummed, because I was really hoping it was going to be something with balance, because I'm very comfortable with that. But when I saw what it was, I had to go with, like, my gut told me to choose that. Mm-hmm. I still am happy I went with that because of like the experience I get to take away from it. But when I saw it, I was like, great, because most of my friends went with that one, and we had to, whoever you team up with in that challenge, one person wasn't going home or wasn't going to go further. And so I'm looking around the room and I'm like, oh my God, I know most of these people. Like these are all my friends that I've made, except for a few. There was a couple smart people on that one that I hadn't become very close with. And so I'm looking around the room. I just didn't want to get put with someone that I was close with. Yeah. And so I asked one person first. She said no. I was like freaking out because people are starting to team up, and it's kind of like a lot of pressure, because the worst thing that could have happened to me is I get teamed up with someone that I was really close with. Sure, yeah. And then I had to eliminate them, or, you know, we just had to compete and know that one of each other weren't going home or weren't going to continue. So yeah, going against Mia, I saw her. I actually asked her. Mm-hmm. She was standing there kind of doing her Mia thing. She's an observer for sure. And I thought, you know what? I don't know her. I think she was a tough competitor from season 1. Mm-hmm. And I look at myself as a tough competitor too. Like I said, like I'm going to fight to the end. Yeah. And so I thought this could be cool. So I asked her and she said, yeah, let's do it. So yeah, it was a fun experience. She's definitely a tough competitor. Yeah.
So what actually ended up happening in the challenge from your perspective that led to the results that ended up happening?
To be honest, I do. There is one thing I don't know if I want to say regret because again, I like to look at everything as like it happened how it was supposed to
Sure.
happen, and you take what you can from it. But I definitely played it a little safe when placing my rocks
Mhm.
at one point because it's hard. You really don't know how much is going on there, and it's like you start guessing, you're like second guessing yourself
Yeah.
and stuff. And Mia, I guess I don't know. We just played a different game, and her game at the end of the if at one point of the game, it does come down to like you might just be stuck with a really heavy rock,
Sure.
and that's kind of what ended up happening. Could it have looked a little different whether I placed rocks differently? Maybe.
Sure.
And so yeah, it's definitely like you don't know how you quite got there, but yeah, I did end up with like a super heavy rock, and I did do one thing though because you look at a scale and it was a pretty big plate, and the rocks, whether they're towards the inside or
Hmm.
the outside, they're
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
make it heavier or lighter.
yeah.
I was on the strong team. Um, so I was really proud of myself for this. I was like, if I have a chance, the only way I can make it through this is I need to unload all the rocks and move them to the closest in to the inside,
Yeah.
to make them the lightest. So that's exactly, we had a minute to place our rock, and as soon as they said go, I pulled every single rock off of there. No one had done this in the whole challenge, but
Yeah.
I just knew it was my only shot.
Sure.
I pulled every single rock off of there, and I restacked all of them in less than a minute, and it didn't do what I needed it to do, but it was the best thing I could think of. So, but when I went to pull my pin, I felt the pressure, and I was like, oh,
Mhm.
I'm gonna go home.
Sure, sure.
But yeah, so she was a tough competitor, and I don't know whether it was we played a better game or worse game. We just both played the game that we felt we were supposed to. So yeah. So the move I have been working on for about a year or so now, and I'm finally super, super close to saying that I've actually achieved it. Has been one of the hardest moves I've ever worked on, and it's called the front lever. So this move is a move where you are under the bar and you are basically holding yourself out like a board. And the best way to explain it. When I first started this move, I could barely hold myself under the bar. But what you don't know when you start training these movements is that it takes a lot more than you think of, like strengthening these little muscles and little tendons that you don't even know exist. So when I first started, I probably looked something like this, and I could barely hold it. But now I can officially do a really good straddle front lever with good form. That matters. And I'm approaching full front lever form. So I'm going to do a straddle for you. Well, maybe I should try a full. I'm going to try a full for you real quick, even though my coach will kill me if she knows I'm doing this after a competition. So this is what a full looks like if I hold it without warming up. I'm not taking my own advice. I have the ugliest hold face. Okay, so that was the full front lever. Barely holding, not straight. I don't know if I'd actually count it in a competition, but we're working on it. I'd say by this summer I'm going to have it fully. And then this is a straddle, and that's when your legs are going to be split, but you don't want it to be so much to where your hips are coming up because that really takes away the difficulty of it. So the biggest thing for a straddle is to have your hips still level with your body and not bent up. So a straddle looks something like this. And that's a straddle. In an actual competition, I would normally incorporate some type of handstands, often a one-arm handstand. Although these movements, they do need to be held for at least 3 seconds in order for them to count in competition. So we're going to try it out and see if I can do one right now. Oh, the wind doesn't make it easy. I think that was 3 seconds. In competition, we always have a high bar routine, and normally they're going to be a little more complicated than what I'm going to show you, but this is what I can do on this bar. It's a little short and it's a little narrow, so I'm going to do some more simple and basic tricks.
The mic flew.
Fun little story about the P-bars. In the early days of calisthenics, the P-bar routines used to look a lot different than they look now. They used to be more like flowy and cool little tricks here and there, and now they're more used for smooth static holds. So I'm going to demonstrate both because I do enjoy both, and I have to pay respect to the beginning of calisthenics. This is a little OG flow. Oh, that would be considered an OG flow. Nowadays, like I said, they're not like that. They're a little more slower and more focused on the strength aspect of the sport. So nowadays in calisthenics, the P-bars are more focused on static holds and a slower version of what I did previously. So yes, you'll still see handstands, but you'll also see a lot of things like what I'm about to do. And I actually did a lot of these moves in my competition yesterday. Calisthenics is all about your style and creating it and making it your own and your unique thing. So this is just some of the things I put together. I'm excited to create more as I continue to grow in the sport. So that was some demonstrations of what I would do in competition. Thank you for watching. It's something where I've worked for 6 years to get to the level I'm at. I started with absolutely no skill. I could not even do pull-ups. Definitely not hold a handstand, but I am where I am now because of the dedication and the passion I have for it. And that's something I will leave you guys with. If you're passionate about something and you make time for it, you can achieve pretty much anything.
All right, and now to finish things off, we're going to do a rapid fire round. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's do it. What's one habit you tell every newcomer in calisthenics to quit immediately?
Doing quality over quantity. Please stop. Please stop.
There you go. What is a move you can do that would embarrass your 16-year-old self?
Everything I did at 16 embarrasses me more than what I do now.
So you think that now, like, a 16-year-old self would actually be very
yes,
proud?
I would be. Yeah, 16-year-old Aspen would be like, good job.
There you go. Cool.
Yeah.
What is the biggest flex you're proud of that nobody knows?
I am a bomb chef.
Hey, there you go. Okay, what's your favorite meal?
Oh, my favorite meal?
Yeah.
Wow, I don't know.
To cook.
Okay,
Yeah.
to cook, anything. The harder it can be, kind of the more I like it nowadays. I've been really into bread recently.
Okay.
But my favorite thing to eat is a good steak. You can't go better than a nice
I love
steak.
That. What is your favorite pre-challenge snack?
Pre-challenge snack. Whenever I go into my competitions, I always bring dates with me because I'm very into health as well. So like dates. Best pre-workout is dates with cottage cheese. I know it's weird, but don't knock it until you try it.
Okay, no, I love both of those put together.
Yeah,
I
they're
can see
good.
it. Yeah, cool. What's one thing you hope viewers take away after watching you compete?
I think just to never give up and to remember to just have fun with it because, like I said before, if you have fun, then you can always take away something positive. So yeah, 100%. Never give up and just enjoy it because it's just part of life.
That's perfect. Well, that's all the time we have today. So thank you for joining us for another episode of Behind the Beasts. Thank you for watching another episode of Behind the Beasts. It genuinely means the world to me. Now, for those who do not know, we are also doing a fundraiser across the entirety of the series for Major Connections. It is a foundation created by Gloria, one of the other contestants on the show, and its purpose is to provide resources as well as a sense of community for those with disabilities, both kids and adults, in rural communities. Now, oftentimes major cities, they have the funds to be able to provide these resources, but smaller cities do not, and that is what Major Connections aims to solve. If you want to learn more about Major Connections, check out the link in the description. If you have the financial means to do so, please donate to the cause. And if you don't at this moment, that's okay. Please share it with your friends and family. But for now, thank you for taking the time to watch Behind the Beasts, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.